you can feed Leachianus geckos bugs such as crickets and roaches and waxworms, but from what I found out is that I've been giving the correct size cricket to this Leachianus in particular, and he seems afraid of it. He seems pretty interested in it and will follow it, but as soon as it starts walking along him, he runs and hides from it. So I don't feed them anymore, or I don't attempt to, because I haven't actually seen him eat one. He will eat the smaller ones, but it's ridiculous. If you feed him the small ones, he'd probably go for a box of 30 or 40 of them, which is silly. So I don't bother with them. He has been taking waxworms from pretty much a young age. I've only given him maximum about 3 or 4 a week just as a treat, because he's been getting it with his crested gecko diet. But waxworms, yeah, because they're quite fatty, you don't want to feed too many, so just keep it in proportion to the food you're already feeding. Yeah, roaches, I've not had any experience with feeding them, but I've heard that they do like eating them. But I've never tested it out with any of my geckos. Hoppers, if you wanted to try them, I've never again tried them, but it'd probably be pretty much the same as crickets. They won't take large ones, they'll only take very, very small ones that they're not afraid of. But my adult Leachianus that I have, he does take large crickets. He's not afraid of them. He'll go straight in. But he is about at least 3 times the length of this particular gecko, and three times the weight. So yeah, he's pretty big. But again, he's a Grantier. He's not a Henkeli. Also, just to add, when feeding live food, make sure you dust them all in calcium lightly. You don't want them to be literally pure white. You just want them to have like a nice grey effect on them. Otherwise, you don't want them to overdose in calcium. It's just as bad if you don't give any. With heating with the Leachianuses, you don't really want it to be too hot. Again, if you keep crested geckos, then you pretty much want it between 70 to 80 during the day. It may fall to about 65 at night, and you don't really want it to go above 85 Fahrenheit during the day. If it does, use that as an indicator that you need to sort of cool down the tank. You can either use something like ice. If you put ice against the side of the glass, it may help that. So I've been told. I've never actually tried it, because instead I just bought an air conditioner, just set the temperature on that, and it keeps my room nice and cool during the summer. But yeah, in the winter it's a bit harder. If you have quite a cold house, you either need to keep the heating on overnight and just watch the temperature and make sure it's steady. You don't want it to just go up and down quite a lot, or you can just put a heat mat in, but you'd need to probably keep it on a thermostat to keep the correct temperatures. You don't want to overheat the gecko. With Leachianus geckos, they don't need any lighting. I use them in my tanks because it doesn't harm them if you do. I use the ReptiGlow 5.0 bulbs. I have 2 of them in the bigger Leachianus tanks. I don't use them particularly for this small gecko, as I haven't got a compact canopy, but when I upgrade his tank, I'll get one for that. But yeah, it doesn't harm them if you want to use one of those, because even though they are nocturnal and they spend most of their time high up or in a cork log, they don't really get any of the UV from the sunlight. But in a tank, if they're hiding on the leaves or with their head poking out of the Well, this is my male Leachianus gecko. This one is about 2.5 years old, weighs about 150, 160 grams. Haven't done a weigh-in ages. Haven't even done a length either, but it would be at least, I'd say, about 12, 13 inches long. I'll quickly show you him. You can just see his head as it's quite dark in there. Yeah, that's him. And I've just noticed he's actually left me a fresh surprise in his new worm dish, so thank you for that. Yeah, I can see you're smiling. Yep. Yeah, so I mean, this tank is pretty big. This is probably the size that you would need for an adult Leachianus. I mean, you could do with some more cork log in there, but he seems happy with what he has at the moment. And as you can see, what I was saying with the plants, he's actually knocked that one off. I've actually seen him do it before. I just put it in there because I spray the leaves again and let him lick all the droplets off. So I might have to put that lower down. Don't want him falling back and hurting himself. But yeah, that's the adult. So make sure that if you're looking to get Leachianus, you're prepared to see one this size. And obviously you got to take them out and clean them still. And with any animal, they can bite. You just need to be careful. The female here, she bit me on Christmas Day. I mean, it didn't hurt, but she's only small compared to the male. They do have sharp teeth, and they have something in their saliva that makes you keep on bleeding for a while, which is actually a good thing, because if they got any diseases or whatnot, it will just bleed out of you, so that's okay. But yeah, it didn't hurt, but the male, I haven't taken a bite off him, and I wouldn't want to look at the size of that head. But for a good care, you should think about getting one of these. So this is Alan Repeshy's Philip and Frank Vast's book that they brought out. It cost quite a bit of money, but for anyone taking Leachianus geckos seriously, definitely pick one up, because you won't regret it. There's a lot of helpful information in there. I've read it many times, and it still makes me want to read it, because it is just so interesting, all the stuff and all the pictures that are in there. So I won't spoil it and show you something from there. I'll just let you go ahead and buy the book. This is the female Leachianus. She's a Grantier, so she's not the same as the Henkeli. She came in from America. She is about a year and a half old, I believe. She won't be breeding for at least 4 years. She has a lot of growing to do, but she will be paired up with the male I showed you in the other tank, who is actually a Leachianus Grantier as well. Both localities, they're both Mount Cognis. She is a pure Mount Cognis Trojaline, I believe, and the male, that is a pure Mount Cognis, as it was sold to me as that, and it does look that way, but you never know. But yeah, hopefully they'll be breeding in about 4 years time. Hopefully get some eggs. It'll be fun watching them hatch.